all stations. Please stand by for your afternoon fire weather forecast. All GBC zone aviation and ground resources are extended until 1900 hours tonight. Discussion for Idaho zones 102 and 103. Showers and thunderstorms tomorrow with heavy rainfall and hail possible, especially in the Clearwater Nez Perce. Isolated gusts in excess of 40 miles an hour. Hail less than 1 inch. Lightning and heavy rain is possible. Stronger storms may be more confined across the Moose Creek and Red River Ranger districts.
I'm here at the Island Creek Fire north of Elk City, Idaho, and you'll have to forgive my partner giggling up front. She's reading a Harlequin romance novel to pass the time. Obviously, I don't have my HF radio antenna up here today because we've had some pretty wild weather move in, but for the first couple days we were here, that was really my only contact with the outside world, save for just a little sliver of cell service we found along one of the logging trails. And then at the ranger station about an hour and a half south of here, there's a landline and some Wi-Fi. And then somebody brought in a Starlink a few days into the fire, and so that made my whole radio thing a little bit less special. But hey, it's still a great way to pass the time. Now, this site has not been without its challenges for HF operation. I really don't have any good tall trees within range of where we had to park in order to string up my antenna. So I've had to have a really, really low altitude, low elevation, NVIS type setup for my antenna. And so I have been able to hit some WinLink gateways, but it has not been easy at all. So I really want to thank those WinLink gateway operators out there for allowing me to tie up your gateway, trying to get some emails out to my family to let them know I'm okay. Now, it is true, I could drag my whole setup off over into the woods to find a really tall tree to fling my antenna up into, but you got to remember, I still have to respond very quickly to any sort of illness or injury while I'm out here. So it's really best if I just keep my setup all here on this desk and then run the antenna right out the back door of the ambulance like I did last year. And then my plan, just like it's always been, if I get something, I'll slam the laptop shut, disconnect everything, throw the antenna into the woods, and be off to Jobtown. Now, my friend Jeff in Canada is currently designing a 3D printed case for the True SDX that's going to kind of mash together all of the little parts, the battery and the DigiRig sound card interface, so that it takes a little bit less to set up and take down. So maybe in the future it will be a little bit more feasible to drag it over to a tree and pitch it up in there, and then the tear down will be that much quicker. But I don't currently have that yet. I'm really looking forward to getting a version of that and testing that out soon. Let's talk briefly about what the communications look like on this incident. So far, everything I've seen has looked really standard. We're using a combination of analog VHF simplex, linked repeaters, and a little bit of human repeater service in those areas where the normal repeater infrastructure doesn't quite reach. I haven't heard any talk yet about dropping in any temporary repeaters, but that's always an option that any incident management team has. They can helicopter in some temporary repeater infrastructure, and that serves the need for the duration of the incident, and then they pick it up, take it away when it's ended. At the morning briefing of most fire incidents, we receive a paperwork packet called the Incident Action Plan, or the IAP, and in it are a number of documents critical to the communications plan, including the ICS 205. The 205 form lists out all of the frequencies and channel names and relevant information that we need to program up a radio. Now, we're working with a variety of people from all manner of backgrounds, and so the incident usually handles programming the radios for us. Everybody needs to be able to speak on the radio competently and use the radio system, and that's just a simple safety measure. You'll recall when we went over the 10 standard firefighting orders and the 18 watch-out situations, a lot of them had a heavy communication focus. So everything's kept just as simple and appliance-like as possible. We also have the ICS 204 form, and that's a division group assignment list. And that at the bottom lists out which channels that division is going to be using for their command channel and their TAC channels, and also which channel is going to be used for communicating with aircraft. The last aspect I'd like to show you of the IAP is on the back, and this is the medical 8 line. And to me, this is as much a communication tool as it is a medical tool. And it has questions on it like, what is the priority of the patient? What is the nature of the illness? How are we getting them out of the field? Are we going to call a helicopter? What frequencies will we talk to that helicopter on? And this was brought into the fire service after a particularly unfortunate situation where a young man died after the people treating him really couldn't come up with a plan. They couldn't settle on something. They were kind of indecisive as to how they wanted to get him out of the field, and he died. Maybe it was a preventable death. Maybe it wasn't. I don't have a crystal ball. But tools like this help us stay on track so that not only are we forming a coherent medical plan, but also we can communicate that over the radio cleanly to the people who need to hear that information. So that's what I've been up to lately. As soon as this weather passes, I'll string up my HF antenna again and try to get back on WinLink. If you'd like to send me an email while I'm out here, my call sign is Kilo Golf 7 Yankee Sierra X-Ray. I'd love to hear from you, and if I can actually get a good connection with the gateway, I'll shoot you a reply.